Hello soulmates, you're welcome back to my YouTube channel. If this is the first time of seeing my channel, thank you for stopping by. If you're a returning subscriber, thank you for watching. So in this tutorial, we're going to be learning how to make this stylish monostrap dress which has a stylish asymmetric hem design. So if you're interested in learning this, please join me while we get started. So on your pattern paper, which should be on a fold, I've already gone ahead to draw the starting line at the top. Then I drew the bust line, which I measured the shoulder to bust of 9.5 inches, shoulder to the underbust of 13 inches, shoulder to waist of 16 inches, and then to the hip I marked 8 inches from the waist. 8 inches from the waist gave me my hip line. So I went ahead to draw these lines and I labeled them. Okay, so I'm just going to come to the starting line and mark my shoulder measurement divided by 2. From there I came down by 1 inch, and from that 1 inch I marked 7 inches, which is my armhole depth, of which I got from the bust circumference divided by 6 plus 1.5. So I drew a straight line at that point and I labeled it my chest line. So now I'm going to mark my shoulder measurement divided by 2, which is 7 inches, on that chest line again, and I'm going to connect them together with a straight line like this. So now I'm going to mark the neck width of 3 inches from the starting line, and I'm going to connect that neck width of 3 inches to meet that 1 inch I came down from the shoulder for my shoulder slope. Okay, so I'm going to take the midpoint of the armhole depth. I'm going to place my tape and mark the midpoint, which is 3.5, and from there I came in by 0.5 inch. Then I also marked the bust circumference divided by 4 and connected them with the curve like this for my armhole curve. So I'm working with a bust circumference of 33 inches. So after that, I connected them together rather to get my armhole curve. So now I'm going to take my bust span measurement divided by 2. That is your nipple to nipple measurement. I'm working with 7 inches divided by 2 is 3.5, and I'm marking that on the bust line down to the hip line, and I'm connecting it together with a straight line like this. So after connecting it together, I'm going to come to the under bust line, and towards the center front I'm going to mark half an inch. Then towards the side I'm going to mark 1 inch. So if you're a plus size, like you're a bust 39 and above, please just use 0.75 towards the center front and 1.25 towards the side. Okay, so after marking this on the bust line and the hip line, I connected them together with a straight line like this. Then I'm going to come down from that bust line by 0.75 on the bust span line, and I'm going to be using my curve to connect them together. So just watch me the way I'm placing my curve. Ensure you place it properly, then you go ahead and connect them together. So I'm just trying to place my curve very well, then connect it together like this. Okay guys, to achieve this I'm going to be using a princess dart for this, and to use a princess dart for this, you're going to be taking the measurement of the armhole curve. So I'm going to place my tape like this, taking the measurement of the armhole curve, and I'm going to divide it into 2 equal parts. So I'm going to take half of it and place it on that armhole curve and mark the center like this. Okay, soulmates, so while I was trying to connect this together, I realized that from the design, the princess dart was extended towards the shoulder area. So what we're going to do is that we're going to take it up on the shoulder line. From that armhole curve at the tip of that shoulder there, that is at the side, we're going to measure 0.75 there. And we're going to connect it together like this. Okay, so I'll just take my marker and connect them together to meet that bust span line we drew on the bust line. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to take a little dart at that point. I'm going to mark 0.25 on both sides. I'm going to mark 0.25 on both sides. Okay, so I marked half an inch earlier, but I decided to change it to 0.25. So I'll just connect that 0.25 together to connect to the lines like this. As you can see, just place the ruler and then connect it together like this. So you can see that I have a slight dart there. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take one part of that dart, that is 0.25, and I'm going to extend it towards the shoulder like this. You can see I'm marking 0.25 there. Then I'm going to take my armhole curve from the ruler and I'm going to connect it to meet the curve like this. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and connect the shoulders to meet each other. Okay, so I'm going to be working from that extended part towards the armhole as my new armhole line. Okay, so I'm just indicating that part that is going to be cut off. Okay, so now we're going to be taking the body measurements. We're going to be imputing the body measurements now. Okay, for us to achieve this, we have to divide the body circumference by 4. What I mean is, on the chest line, we're dividing the bust circumference by 4, I'm marking it there. On the underbust, divide the underbust circumference by 4 and then add the dart allowance. So we have a dart allowance of 1.5 inches there. I'm going to also do that on the waist, then add the dart allowance, then on the hip as well, and add the dart allowance. So after doing that, I'm going to connect them together. Okay, so mind you, I'm using a waist measurement of 26, the underbust measurement of 28, and the hip measurement of 36. Okay, so I'm just indicating these areas that will be cut off. So now we're going to be getting the bust dart, okay, which is the difference between the shoulder to waist in front and the shoulder to waist at the back. So what I have is 1.5 inches, and I came down from the bust line by 1.5, which I connected to meet the bust band line. So the shoulder to waist in front is 16 inches and that of the back is 14.5. Now from the waistline, I came down from the side by 4 inches, and towards the center front, I'm going to mark 4 inches below the waistline. So what I'm going to be doing is I'm going to be connecting that 4 inches from the center front to meet at the hip area where we have the dart. Okay, so I'm using a curve. I want it to be a bit curvy, and that's why I'm connecting it like this, as you can see. So then from that point where I marked at the side 4 inches, I'm going to connect it to meet the hip area as well for the other side of the dart. Okay, as you can see. So this is what we are going to be having for the hem area. So now for us to get the neck design, that is the monostrap design at the neck area, we're going to be opening the paper and transferring what I have on that side to the other side. So after transferring it, this is what I have, and we're going to be doing it like this. So the design is going to start from one shoulder to meet the armhole of the other side. So you can see I'm going to be connecting the armhole for this side to meet at the shoulder, and I'm going to be using this curved part of my ruler because I don't want it to be straight. Okay, so as you can see, I'm placing my ruler like this and I'm already going ahead to trace it out. So I'm going to use my marker to make it very visible for us to see. Okay, soulmate, so after connecting them together, this is what we have, and at this point we're actually done with this part. So if you want yours to be a bit lower than where you have your armhole, you can come down by half an inch. By the time you come down by half an inch, you just place it like this and then connect it, and that's it. But if you want it this way, it's fine. So at this point, you're just going to go ahead and cut it out. Okay, so at this point, if you find this tutorial very helpful, please ensure to give us a thumbs up, share this video, leave a comment in the comment section. Also, please subscribe to our channel so you can always see any other videos we upload, and you can be notified whenever we upload new videos. Okay, so if you have any question, please ensure to leave it in the comment section. Okay, so I also advise that you watch me while I'm cutting this so that you can also cut it well without issues. Okay, so just quickly follow gently follow the process of the cutting. So at this point, what I'm going to do is that I'm going to be folding the part where we have the bust dart. Okay, I'm going to close it because we're not going to be working with it. I'm going to close that part after cutting, and when we close it, this is what it's going to look like. Okay, so now we're going to be going to the back pattern of this dress. So on the pattern paper, which is also on a fold, I've already gone ahead to mark the necessary point just like we did in the front. So you can see the shoulder to waist is 14.5 here, and the waist to the hip is 8 inches, which I use for the front part. So I also mark 1.5 inches at the side of the back, which is going to be our allowance for the zip. Okay, so from the line which I drew after the 1.5 inches, we are going to be starting all our measurements from there. So I've gone ahead to mark the shoulder slope and connected the armhole. So now what we are doing is I came from the waistline and I marked 0.5 inch on that part, and I'm connecting it upward towards the chest line and downwards towards the hip area, as you can see. This is just going to help us avoid zipper bulging. Okay, so now I'm marking the bust span divided by 2, which is 3.5. So I'm marking the 3.5 inches on the chest line down to the hip line, and I'm going to connect it with a straight line like this. So after that, I'm going to come to the waist area where I marked the bust span. I'm going to mark half an inch on both sides. If you're a plus size, you can use 0.75 or 1 inch. So I came back from the waistline by 4 inches, and I'm going to be connecting the dart to meet that 4 inches below the waistline, and I'm also going to connect it to the chest line at the top. Okay, to meet the dart allowance I imputed on the waist. So after that, this is what I have. So I'm just going to go ahead and mark 0.75 at the top on the shoulder slope like I did for the front, and I'm going to be connecting it together with a curve like this. Okay, soulmate, so after connecting it together, You can actually decide to impute the dots like you did for the front, but I'm not going to be doing that here. So now I'm just imputing the body measurements, dividing them by 4 like I did in the front. So I'm adding the waist measurement divided by 4 and adding the 1 inch allowance I have there for the dart. Then the hip, I divided the hip by 4 and I marked it there, and I'm going to connect them together like this. I'm also going to be connecting with the chest line where I marked the bust circumference divided by 4. Okay, so after doing this, I'll connect them together and I'm going to be getting the hem design I have there. So for this hem area, I'm going to mark 6 inches at that dart line, that is the bust span line, and I'm going to mark 4 inches on the center back and the side back like I did for the front. So I'm just going to take the front piece and ensure that, okay, it's accurate, and of course it is. So I'm just going to take my ruler and I'm going to be using the curved parts because I don't want it to be straight, and I'm going to connect it from the center back to meet the dart line and also connect it from that point to meet the side like this. So I'm going to smoothen this part that is a bit sharp, and after doing this I'm going to be imputing the zipper allowance for this part. Okay, now so to impute the zipper allowance, I'm just going to extend that line like this, and then I'm going to be marking 1 inch because I'm using 1 inch for the zipper allowance. So if you're using 1.5, you can see mark your 1.5. Okay, so I'm going to be following that new line I marked where I came in from 0.5 on the waist. So I'm going to be marking 1 inch and I'm going to be connecting them together like this. Also, before I connect the upper part, that is the neck area, I'll just open the pattern and transfer what I have on one side to the other side. So as you can see, I labeled it zipper allowance, which is going to help me when I'm working on it to know the areas where I have the zipper allowance. Okay, so what I'm going to do for me to get that neck design, I'm going to take the front part and I'm going to transfer it to the other side like this. This is for me to know the exact part where I'm going to be having the shoulder and the part where I'm going to be having the monostrap design. So if you don't do it like this, you might make a mistake while cutting it. So you can see the way I place it now. I know where the shoulder is going to be. So now I'm going to take my ruler and place it from that point down to the armhole area of the other side. So for me to do this, I'm going to actually need to close up this zipper allowance to make it easy for me. I'm going to close it up. Then before I do that, I'm going to cut it. Then when I cut it, I'm going to trim out the excesses, that is the extra part that is not needed. I'm just going to trace it out, then leave the areas where I have the zipper allowance. So I'm just going to go ahead and fold it like this, as you can see. So after folding it, I'm just going to use it to cover the other part, ensuring that they are equal. Then I'm going to secure it with my tape. This is just for me to ensure that I get the back accurately. As you can see, it is smooth and equal right now. So now I can go ahead and place my ruler from the shoulder down to the armhole area like this, and then I can now go ahead and trace it. As you can see, I'm tracing it and it's very easy for me without affecting the zipper or anything. Like I said, you can come down by 0.5 from the armhole depending on how you want it to be. So at this point, I'm just going to go ahead and open it up and I'm going to cut it out. So if you find this tutorial helpful, please ensure to subscribe to our channel. Okay, so mates, I'm so sorry for the background sound. I'm in the area that is a bit noisy. Okay, so at this point, we are done with this tutorial. If you're a beginner in the fashion industry, you want to top your skill, you want to upgrade, or you want to learn pattern drafting, we have a class that is going to commence this May and is going for 5,000 naira. If you're interested, please send the number to the WhatsApp number that is displayed on the screen. If you also want to learn corsetry, we also have a class for it as well. You can just send us a message on the WhatsApp number that is displayed on the screen. So for this part of the zipper, I realized that while I was cutting, that part was cut off because my paper was not enough. So what I did is I just went ahead to extend it like this. As you can see, after extending it, I'll just go ahead and cut it out. Okay, so mate, so after tracing it out, I went to ensure that it is equal, and then I went ahead to cut it out. So you can actually do this if you experience the same thing, but if your paper is not like my paper, I had to join some extra paper to make it to be enough because I don't have enough paper. But if you're using a paper that is not joined, that is, you're just using normal paper that you fold, I guess it won't give you this issue. But in case you have this issue, just go ahead and connect it like this. So after doing that, I went ahead to label it center back 1 and 2, side back 1 and 2. Okay, so that is for the back. Then I also brought the front pattern and I went ahead to label it center front, then side front 1 and 2. So at this point, we are done with this tutorial. If you find this tutorial very helpful, ensure to share this video and subscribe to our channel. Thank you for watching. See you guys in my next video.